that's a little bit about me for those of you who don't know who I am. Okay, so I want to make a quick disclaimer before we get started. All right, so the first thing I want to point out is that these are my observations and experiences. Okay, so I taught the license waiver course, as a coach for 10 years. I've been operating my own school, the Cornering Confidence Program, and so I kind of had been having a foot in both worlds, and so that's sort of where that's how I bring these experiences and my observations. Also, I 100% back the basic training license waiver courses, and I'll refer to basic training mostly in this presentation as the license waiver courses, because we know there's several different curriculums, and I'm not going to name any curriculums. I'm going to make assumptions that you can, they're broad, but specific as well to certain ones that I've been trained in. Now, I'm not making a case against the basic courses. There's a lot they get right. They're really good at preparing writers with little to no experience, and basic training can take a writer very far. All right, so if you want to be a very conservative writer, you can go very, very far on basic skills and enjoy motorcycling just as much as someone who likes to go a little faster. I also have found that the cognitive skill development and traffic management is very hard to beat outside the waiver courses. I mean, they really can handle a lot of those mental things and how to interpret traffic probably better than anybody. And that's probably why you don't see a whole lot of additional training in traffic management and those kind of things. Now, why this topic? Well, I'm interested in it. Okay, so I have this inquisitive mind, and in my experience, in my experience coaching track days and coaching tours, many experienced writers simply recite and perpetuate misconceptions perhaps learned in the waiver courses far into the future. They don't do it on purpose. It's just that there's a tendency to repeat for many years what was taught in a basic course. Now, where I see problems are mostly with the next level cornering content and techniques beyond the parking lot, because we know there's a trick here. We have to teach people who don't know what they're doing not to hurt themselves today while we're learning, and then once they leave us, some things just aren't as applicable anymore. And so it's the next level cornering content and techniques that we're looking for, and they're not being learned and potentially holding writers back once they leave the course. Also, waiver course coaches may want to understand their students better because they may be bringing knowledge or questions to their courses. And you got to understand, in today's day and age, there's a lot of YouTubers, and there's a lot of great books out there, awesome podcasts, and they talk about things. And if you as a coach just stop, with what's in the basic waiver courses and say, well, this is going to take you forever into the future, you just may not be understanding where the students are coming from. And of course, I want to make a quick note about advanced concepts in waiver course materials. You certainly can find inclusions of advanced techniques in waiver course materials. Now, when I was recertified in 2017 for the latest curriculum, there were many things in the student handbook that were really advanced and improved. And I remember being surprised by that. And the writer coach basically was saying, well, this might be the only class they ever take, and that the book itself is kind of supposed to be a standalone resource. And while they do mention some of the advanced things I'll talk about in the course materials, it's mostly in the workbooks, the student workbooks. When the students are actually out riding in the parking lot, these things are basically absent. So here were the secondary variations. These are things that I don't see as crucial, if you will, but as an experienced writer myself, I see them as things that could be improved. First of all, riding posture, just a couple of things we'll talk about with riding posture. What to do for in-curve emergencies. Now, you can't cram certain things into the course. So the waiver courses, you got to nip and tuck anyways. And so this is left off the plate. Low speed maneuvers, I have a real weird thought about this compared to a lot of people I know. They just, I don't know how else to say it. I actually was, attacked on a Facebook group about ideas behind this one. I say attacked. No one attacked me. They just said mean things to me. Shifting is another one. When it comes to shifting, this is the last thing, guys. This is it. Okay. This is my last observation of the secondary. The curriculum says make the steps distinguishable to make a slight pause between each step. Now, I understand no one even, the concept of shifting gears is foreign to a lot of people. They don't even have manual cars these days. But it's a squeeze, lift, ease, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, we really want them to make the steps in a more gross fashion as we refine them. But we never go back to it, really, in the parking lot. We always, we assume they're going to smooth it out on their own. What changes is smooth shifting is very important from corner approach through the exit, right? So there's many times when we need to downshift as we go into a turn, and maybe even in the turn. I remember the waiver course specifically said not to downshift in turns, and it said you could upshift. Again, that's probably a smart thing to tell someone who's brand new, because if they need to give it more, they can give it a throttle, and eventually it'll pick up and take them out very less abruptly. Whereas if they were to downshift in a turn, it could cause chatter of the tire and they could lose traction, because it's almost like a rear braking effect. But I bet every one of us in here is downshifted in a turn that we misjudged. So what changes after is that. And so how long does it take riders to develop this on their own? I don't know. I'm trying to think of, I think I might have read an article or just someone wrote into a magazine, like maybe a few years into my riding career or whatever, and someone talked about Reg Pridmore and his smooth, and, and how it's important to be smooth on the controls. By chance, I read an article or something. And of course, then I read Reg's book, and he's it's one of my top 4 books. Okay. So that is kind of, in a nutshell, those 8 things, primary and secondary things that I kind of notice is I call them fails, because you can call it clickbait if you want, but how do you get your message out to people? And I guess fail is really a bad way to put it. It's more like, I guess, inconsistency or, limitations, if you will. And I'm not crazy enough to say we need to start teaching these things, because in the basic courses, and I know they're taught in the advanced courses, even from these waiver organizations. It's just that hardly anybody takes the courses. So what are we to do? How are riders supposed to acquire these next level skills? We do know that the best way is with a watchful eye and feedback from a professional, but they have to pay money. They have to go places, and the money is in the waiver courses, not the advanced courses. And so that's why we see 99% of the courses out there are waiver courses. And so if you're an experienced rider here and you've only taken the basic waiver course, you owe it to yourself to go out there and take some advanced courses. Training is a horrible word. I don't like the word. It makes it sound like, page 1 of the waiver course. Be safe. Don't make any aggressive moves. Number 1 priority, be responsible. And so it's that's why I hate the word training, because sounds like I hear training wheels in my head or something like that. Now, coaches out there, you may want to just take some of this information in your own head. You can have, this play out in your head. So if someone comes to you talking about certain things or wanting to use two fingers, I'm not saying teach them totally something different. I'm saying you're going to know where they're coming from, and you don't discount these things. You could turn them into a teachable moment for that particular rider. And that rider may then understand that once they leave the course, things do change. Now, any comments or questions before I take you to the last slide and then give everybody a chance to stick around and say hi to me if they're friends or whatnot?
Okay, I have a comment again.
Please.
So training. I see nothing wrong with the word training myself, using that. I'm a dog person. So think of it in the aspect of training your dog. You take a beginner class, okay? Your dog's got the basics, knows how to not pull on the leash, sit, stay, that kind of thing. If you want to do more with your dog, you take the next level of training. So using the word training or your mindset around the word training, I disagree with.
We could agree, disagree there. In your example, you're not getting the training, the dog is, so it's easier for someone to say, I'm going to invest in my dog's training. Whereas I just remember a conversation I had with David Huff, okay? And I had these flashcards I was making, and he said, you can't name your book something with safety or training, because people typically they'll be like, I don't need training. And, he cited a couple different things, and he named proficient motorcycling that because it exuded a skilled atmosphere, a connoisseur of riding skills, someone who's striving to be better than everybody else at this thing and this skill, and they want a higher skill level, which over the years, I've read other things about the same thing, that the people who are attracted to second tier training, as we would use your word, they're the people who like, I'm gonna say BMW riders is just as a kind of image in your head, but it's really that rider who they have a lifelong learning kind of a mindset, and so they want to do it because they want to become better, not necessarily safer. And again, that's not true for everybody. I just think that could be a problem with getting people into the second tier. Oh, when you go for motorcycle training, it's the waiver course, and they really don't know there's anything else, people. So, well, I don't need to take the waiver course. I know how to do it. So, it's kind of like when a teenager gets their license. They don't need to know anything else. They know it all. They got their license. Hey, I passed. I'm a good driver now. And I think a lot of coaches might agree that there's that similar thought process with waiver course grads. But again, to prove your point correct, Sharon, when I talk to people in and around the industry, I have to use the word training. I have to say training, because that's the only way they know what I'm talking about. Now, someone's raising a hand. I don't know if I know how to answer that here.
Martha, you just unmute your phone.
Yeah. So I got my license in October 2019. And I went through the basic course, got my license. Of course, I bought the Harley Davidson before I got my license. And what I've discovered is that the course was fine. I learned a lot. But I equate riding a motorcycle with running an Excel sheet. You know how to run it, and yeah, you'll get by. But it does so much more than just the basic stuff. And if you want to learn, you need to find an advanced course and take an advanced course, because there is so much more to riding a motorcycle than just running the basic Excel sheet to do your spreadsheets. See what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, because
So,
I also teach computers in high school, so I know what you mean. It's like they know how to add up a few cells and to make format the cells, but they really know how to do a sort. Do they really know how to do, some of these advanced features, like functions and stuff? And so, yeah, you can clunkily drive a motorcycle down the road. It's how far do people want to go? And like, to bring the thing full circle, you can have a very long, enjoyable motorcycling career with everything you learned in the basic rider course. It's if you're interested in a very reserved, measured, as they would say, responsible, non-aggressive kind of style of riding. But most riders I know like to pick up the pace, at least to a certain degree. That's more that's beyond the parking lot speeds. Maybe if there's a parade riders, a lot of times my buddies and I will get behind like a parade of maybe Harleys or something, maybe 30 Harleys. And they're just going, they're taking it easy. Now, maybe they could ride the wheels off of those things and they're dragging knees at the track, okay, on their Gixxers or whatever. I'm not judging their skills. What I'm saying is that when they're in that environment, it's not a high risk cornering problem that I think that they're facing. And so you can just go out there and enjoy motorcycles. By the way, you can in the traffic management stuff. If you're going to commute around the city, you're not going to get out to the curves, and to the twisty roads. You can't beat the basic course for how to pick up, all those mental cues. So good luck, Martha. Continue to learn and enjoy that Harley. And they're great bikes, and it doesn't matter what you're riding, because whatever you're riding, especially some of the things that I would teach in my advanced course would be good for someone on a cruiser, because we talk about how to give yourself more ground clearance, with simple body positioning and things like that. And so just because you may be riding a cruiser doesn't mean you have to stop at parade riding, is my point. And I give you a lot of credit. We like the motorcycles we like. Okay, no, I don't want someone to tell me, the motorcycle I want to ride. Okay, a motorcycle, I look at it, I want it, that's what I want, and that's it. And so people have their own perspectives on that.
Exactly. And I just feel as though the basic course gives you the basics. And if you as an individual want to learn more, whether you're on a cruiser or a sport bike or whatever, it's your responsibility to get the education.
Yeah.
So,
Well, thank you. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue on here real quick. I'll hold on for more questions here, but I do want to bring this to a conclusion for people, and then we can send you on your way if you want to. But just want to point out, you can join the Cornering Confidence community. That's my thing. If you could go to corneringconfidence.com. I do send a monthly newsletter. You can sign up for that. I started the Curve Meisters Facebook group. Just I wanted to get more involved with that. I have these other social media things. I do Zoom events. Now, rider coaches that want to take my online course, I give you a 50% discount on it, which it end up costing you $25. The book is $25, and you can get it a Kindle for $9, $10. If you go to my website and buy the book, you can I'll mail you one with a 10% discount. You use Zoom there when you buy it, and then same thing with the online course. Anybody paying attention can do that. If you're a coach and you want to take my online course, just send me a picture of your rider coach credentials or whatever you're certified under, and I'll be sure to send you a code for that.